Today in this video lecture, we will discuss about a rectifier circuit. Already you are familiar with the rectifier circuit. In a 12th standard already learned what is the half-wave rectifier, full-wave rectifier. In that case, we have discussed only a working of the rectifier circuit. Here we are going to discuss about the mathematical analysis of the rectifier circuit. And from that you will find out how much AC component, how much DC component is in the rectifier circuit, how much DC energy will be provided by the rectifier circuit. This kind of the analysis here we will see in your syllabus. First of all, let us see what is a rectifier. What is rectifier? And why the rectifiers are important. So the answer for the first question is a very simple. The rectifier circuit is converting your AC signal into a DC signal. It is also converting you can say that the AC voltage converted into DC voltage or AC current converted into a DC current. But in a broad sense, you can say the rectifier is converting a AC energy or the AC power into a DC power. So circuit which convert a AC power into a DC power, that circuit is known as a rectifier circuit. Now my second question, why the rectifiers are important? Why we require to convert a AC energy into DC energy? So basically if we see any electronic circuit like a amplifier circuit or a oscillator circuit. I think already you learned a digital electronic. In that case, we have a different types of the gates. So here if we have a AND gate, OR gate, and different gates are there, and number of the circuits are there, then all these circuits are operate with the DC voltage. If you will not provide a DC voltage, then the circuit will not work. So the simple thing is that to operate any electronic circuit, we require a DC voltage. And all these electronic circuits are in a gadgets. So if you take an example of a radio or a television or a Walkman or your mobile phone, then every electronic gadgets operate on a battery. And battery is nothing but it is a source of a DC power. So the second thing is that electronic gadgets like radio, television, or you can say Walkman or mobile, you take any electronic gadgets, then we require the battery. And what is battery? Battery is providing the DC power. Okay? So to operate all these electronic gadgets, we require the battery. And we know that the battery is a costly. Here, if you take a simple example of a pencil cell. Remember, how much voltage is provided by the pencil cell? That will provide a 1.5 volt. pencil cell is providing that voltage capacity is 1.5 volt. And what is the maximum current capacity of this? So here it is if we have a fresh battery, okay, then it can provide a current up to a 2 ampere. So if I will calculate the DC power, DC power means what? V into I. That is a 1.5 into 2. So here you will get a 3 watt of DC power. One pencil cell will provide a 3 watt of DC power. What is the cost of the pencil cell? Approximately it is available with the 15 rupees. So the cost of battery is 15 rupees. Correct? Means you are purchasing 3 watt of DC energy with the cost of 15 rupees. Now 1 watt of DC energy is costing around 5 rupees. Now on the other hand, that if you are talking about the AC energy, then the AC energy is easily available at our home. That is our 230 volt, 50 hertz. It is available at our home. What is the cost of this? That this AC energy we measure in terms of the unit. And 1 unit, you already know, 1 unit is nothing but it is a 1000 watt or 1 kilowatt. And the cost of the 1 unit, if you see your electricity bill, then the cost of the 1 unit is 8 rupees. So what does it mean? What does it mean? That you are purchasing a 1000 watt with the cost of 8 rupees. Here you are purchasing a 3 watt of DC energy with the cost of 15 rupees. So naturally, if you compare the cost, then the battery are very costly compared to, or you can say that the DC energy is very costly compared to the AC energy. Correct? And secondly, that this AC energy is easily available at our home. It is also available at the night also. 24 hours it is available. While when we are talking about the battery, then when we are using the battery is go on discharging, then again you have to replace the battery in your gadgets. So frequently we have to change the battery, and every time we are spending some money on the battery, and that's why it is very costly. Why? The AC energy, which is easily available, and the cost wise it is very less. So we have to use a AC energy to operate the electronic gadgets. Now electronic gadgets are operate on a DC power, and that's why that we are converting a AC energy into a DC energy. Remember again that the DC energy is very costly, AC energy is less expensive and easily available. That's why we require to convert a AC energy into DC energy, and therefore the rectifiers are very important. Then only you can use your gadget. Otherwise, if you use your gadget 2-3 times and then the battery will be very costly, then you forget about the using of this gadgets. So here, for this rectification, for the conversion of your AC power into DC power, we are going to discuss a three types of the rectifier. That the first one is a half wave rectifier. Second one is a full wave rectifier. And third one is a bridge rectifier. Now every rectifier has some advantage and disadvantage. So when we will discuss this rectifier, at the same time also we will discuss the advantage and disadvantage. Also we will find out how much energy or how much amount of the AC energy is converted into DC energy. That is very important, and it is known as a rectification efficiency of the rectifier. So let us see what is a half wave rectifier. So here we have a simple diagram for the half wave rectifier, and already you are familiar with this circuit diagram. If you look at the component of this half wave rectifier, then first of all we have a transformer. What is transformer? Already you know that whatever the AC energy we provide in a primary, the same AC energy will be induced in the secondary. Now to the primary we apply our line voltage, that is the 230 volt, and the frequency of this AC voltage is a 50 Hz. That is known as the line frequency also. So first of all, then why you require a transformer? That transformer has two advantages. That the first advantage is that according to your DC voltage, you can increase or decrease the AC voltage. Suppose my requirement of the DC voltage is of a 9 volt. I want only a 9 volt DC. But what is my AC voltage? It is a 230 volt. Directly if you rectify the 230 volt, then you will get a round about a 200 volt of DC. So to generate a 9 volt of DC, you require the less amount of the AC voltage. So here we can use a step down transformer so that the 230 volt will be decreased up to a 12 volt. Here in the secondary, if we have a 12 volt of AC, then most probably you will get a 9 volt of DC. And that's why here the transformer is required to decrease the AC voltage. Sometimes my required voltage is 1000 volt. Remember, there are certain applications where very high voltage is required, but my AC input voltage is only 230 volt. So what we have to do? We have to step up the voltage, and therefore in that case we can use a step up transformer. And step up transformer, the secondary voltage will be always greater than the primary voltage. So here the transformer is used to increase or decrease the AC voltage according to our requirement. So transformer can be a step down or it can be a step up. Now second thing, that in the AC we have a live terminal and a neutral terminal. So if the live terminal will be connected to the ground, then directly if you touch the body of the instrument, then you will get the shock. Suppose we have a circuit like this. Without transformer, you can have the rectifier. Remember, here we have a AC voltage. Now suppose this is a neutral terminal and this one is the live terminal. Means a 2-pin plug is there already, you know. So if this live terminal is connected to the ground, and normally this ground is connected to a chassis of the instrument. It is connected to the chassis of the instrument. So here if this live is connected to ground and if we touch the instrument or the gadget, then you will get the shock. If we have a live terminal here and a neutral terminal here, then you will not get the shock because the neutral is connected to the ground. In that case, if we touch the instrument, then you will not get the shock. But in a 2-pin plug, we do not know which one is a live and which one is a neutral. So here, then there are chances that if you have plugged it in a different way, then sometimes you will get the shock. So to isolate this, here the transformer is used. And in this transformer, if this one is a live and this one is neutral, or if this one is a neutral and this one is a live, but this primary is isolated from the secondary. There is no connection between the primary and secondary. So if in the primary the terminals are reversed, but you will not get in the secondary, you will not get a shock if it is connected to the ground. If this terminal is connected to the ground and if it is connected to the chassis of the instrument. So this is the most important advantage of using a transformer. Then we have a diode. We have diode, and diode is actually a rectification element. We know the property of the diode. When it will be in a forward bias, the current will flow. If it is in reverse bias, the current will not flow. So here the diode is used for the rectification. Then the RL is known as a load. Now what is RL? RL is not simply a resistance which we have connected. This RL, whatever the RL I have mentioned in the diagram, this one is a dummy RL. It is a dummy load. Remember, actually when you are using your power supply, when you are using your rectifier, then whatever the DC voltage is there, this DC voltage, suppose this DC voltage you are applying to your radio receiver, correct? Then the radio receiver is known as the load for the power supply. Remember, here this RL will not be there, but instead of that, the radio which is consuming the power from the rectifier circuit, that is known as the load. So whatever the gadgets you are connecting to the rectifier circuit, that gadget is known as a load for the power supply, because that load, in that load your power is going to be a dissipating. But this RL, whatever the RL I have mentioned here, it is just for our calculation purpose. So whatever the impedance or the input resistance of the radio receiver is there, that you can represent as a RL in the circuit diagram. Now let us see the working of the rectifier circuit. So here in the primary, when we applied a 230 volt, then the secondary, the voltage will be induced. Let us say this voltage is a Vs, secondary voltage, and it is a AC voltage. So if you see this waveform, then it will be the case this is the omega t that is representing the angle, and this is my secondary voltage 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and this is known as a maximum voltage Vm. Okay? Remember, this secondary voltage, whatever I have mentioned, it is represented as Vs is equal to Vm sine omega t. Okay. Now, let us see the function of the circuit. Remember, here in the secondary, the AC voltage is going to be induced, correct? And normally in the power supply, this point is connected to the ground. It is connected to the ground in the sense that this one is at a zero potential. Remember, this end of the secondary is at zero potential. That is my reference voltage. That is my reference line. So with respect to this line, this zero voltage, at this end, the voltage is going to be positive or the voltage is going to be a negative. So whenever we have a positive cycle, this voltage will be a positive. And whenever we have a negative cycle, this end of the secondary will be a negative. Why? Because this end is connected to the ground and it is my reference voltage. So with respect to this, we have this positive voltage. Now, already you know that whenever the positive voltage is given to the anode of the diode, this is the anode of the diode and this one is the cathode of the diode, then the diode will be in a forward bias. So basically anode is nothing but it is a p-type material and this is the n-type. So whenever the forward bias will be there, then the electron in an n-type material, there are free electrons are there. So this electron will cross the junction and coming to the p-type material. Then from the p-type material, this electron will come out from the diode and it will enter into the secondary of the transformer. From the secondary of the transformer, it will come out, then this electron will enter into a load resistance RL. From this RL, it will come out and then it will come back to this diode. Again, when the diode is in forward bias, then whatever the electrons are in an n-type material, it will cross the junction coming to the p-type material, then it will come out from the diode, enter into the secondary of the transformer, then it will enter into the load resistance RL and again come back for in a diode. So this is the flow of an electron when we have a positive cycle of the AC voltage. Now, what is the direction of the current? That is always the opposite to the flow of the electron. So, here if you see the electrons are moving in this direction, means the current is flowing in this direction here. This is the flow of the current. Remember. So, whatever the current is flowing in the RL, that is known as a load current IL. Load current IL. So, here now if you see, this is omega t, and you are talking about the load current IL, then here, as my input voltage will increase, then naturally according to Ohm's law, the current IL will also increase. If the input voltage will decrease, at the input voltage will decrease, the IL will also decrease. So if we see this waveform for the load current, then it will be like this, 0 to 5. And this is known as a maximum current IM. So during this positive cycle, diode is in forward bias and there will be a flow of a load current through the load resistance RL. Now, in a negative cycle, remember, here, whenever we have a negative cycle, then this potential will be a negative like this. With respect to this, this point A is going to be negative. So, the diode will be in a reverse bias. Because the anode is connected to negative, diode is in reverse bias, there will not be any flow of current. So this IL is VA 0, and here if you see, then it is also a 0. Because the diode is working as a open circuit. In a forward bias, it is working as a short circuit. Here it is working as a open circuit, and in open circuit, the current is not flowing. Again, when the positive cycle will be there, diode will be in a forward bias and you will get the current, then no current will be there. So, in this way, the load current is flowing in a load resistance RL. If we see what will be the waveform for the output voltage, then the output voltage waveform will be identical to a load current. So here it will be always like this. This is my output voltage 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. Because the V is equal to IR, R is constant, I will increase, the output voltage will increase, I will decrease, the output voltage will also decrease. Now in this waveform, you can see that whatever the output current is there, load current or the output voltage is there, it is not a pure DC voltage. If we have a pure DC voltage, then it will be like this, VDC voltage. With the time t, this magnitude of the voltage will not change, as well as it is also not changing the direction. But here, my output voltage is fluctuating. So, it is a AC voltage or it is a DC voltage. Now the question is that output current or the voltage is a AC or DC. But here if you look at this, what is the AC voltage? AC voltage is increasing or decreasing, means the AC voltage will continuously increase and then decrease, and then at regular interval it will change the direction also. While DC, it is not changing the direction. So here whatever the voltage is increase or decrease, this voltage is increasing, decreasing. Means it has a property of a AC component. But this is not changing the direction. So that is a property of a DC component. So in this way, this whatever the output of the rectifier is there, it is not a pure AC voltage, it is not a pure DC voltage, but it is a combination of AC and DC. Because whatever the output voltage is there, some AC component is also present and the DC component is also present. So here we have this output which is a combination of AC plus DC. So remember, the rectifier circuit is not providing a pure DC voltage. And therefore, sometimes this is also known as a pulsating DC. DC is there because it is not changing the direction. But the amplitude of the DC is continuously changing. Correct? And therefore, it is known as a pulsating DC voltage. Okay. Now, this is a pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. Correct? Now, I want to write what is the expression for the load current. How we can represent this load current mathematically? Because for the analysis of the circuit, we require the expression for the load current. So, by using a Ohm's law, we can find out the current. Correct? So, according to Ohm's law, what is I? I is equal to V by R. Correct? So, that load current IL is equal to V by R. Now, what is my input voltage? Input voltage is Vs. So, Vs divided by R. R means what? That your current is not only passing through the RL. Remember, this current is not passing through only RL. It is also passing through the diode. It is also passing through the transformer. So, I have to consider the resistance of the diode as well as the resistance of the transformer. When the diode is in forward bias, it has some forward bias resistance and that is the RF. Now, the secondary of the transformer, it is made up of a copper wire and this copper wire has some DC resistance. So, that resistance is a RS. So, when I am writing an expression for this load current IL and this load current is passing through the transformer as well as passing through the RL as well as passing through the diode, and therefore I have to consider all the resistance. So, Vs divided by RL plus RS plus RS. Okay. Now, what is Vs? Vm sin omega t divided by RL plus RS plus RS. And here, now you can see this is the maximum voltage divided by a total resistance. Maximum voltage divided by a total resistance, and that is representing a maximum current. So, here whatever the maximum current I have mentioned, IM. So, this IL we can write as Im sin omega t. What is Im? Im is Vm divided by RL plus RS plus RS. This is the maximum current. So, the expression for this load current is this. But it is a varied or not? How will you verify? So if you put the different value of omega t and see that is correct or not. So here, if the omega t is 0, then what is the value sin 0? So sin 0 will be load current 0. So here we have this point, it is 0. That is correct. If I will put omega t is equal to pi by 2, then it is a sin pi by 2 will be a 1 and the load current IL is equal to IM. So here we have this pi by 2 and the maximum current is IM. It is also true. If you put a omega t is equal to a pi, then again it will be 0. So that is also correct. But if I will put omega t is equal to 3 pi by 2, then here IL will be a minus IM. Remember, if you have omega t is equal to 3 pi by 2, then the IL will be a minus IM. But in my output, the minus IM is not there. It means whatever the expression I have mentioned, it is not a correct one. I have to modify this expression. So this expression is valid. Here, this expression is valid only for omega t is between 0 and pi. So when we write the expression for the load current, then the IN is equal to IN sin omega t if this omega t is between 0 and pi. Remember. And if the omega t is between pi and 2 pi, it is 0. So IL is equal to 0 if it is between the pi and 2 pi. So actual expression for the load current is this. Remember. So here we conclude our rectifier circuit that whatever the load current is flowing, that load current is flow only for the positive cycle and that is given by Im sin omega t. During this negative cycle, there is no load current. So here we write 0 if the omega t is between pi and 2 pi. In the next video lecture, we will discuss how to calculate the DC current, AC current and efficiency of the rectifier.